What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to an exciting episode here as we are finally starting some basketball talk, y'all. And what better person to talk basketball talk with than somebody that has won it all, has stood on the top box, man, Ernie Myers here. So, Ernie.
Done it, got the ring.
I know, man. I mean, seriously, like we were just talking about that the man cave wall he's got behind him, man. And again, it's first of all, Ernie, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Really excited to have you.
Hey, I'm excited to be here. It's that time of year. I get excited. Juices start getting flowing. About to get the broadcast in. My
right.
teammate, my partner, myself, Adam Sanders. We're ready to get the ball started.
Amen. Well, and so kind of how we'll do this is for part one here, we'll be talking about women's basketball, and then part two, we'll be following up with a men's basketball. Now, obviously, since it's just one episode, it won't be necessarily a deep dive, but just kind of more general overview thoughts. Again, a lot of changes happened for both teams, and so looking forward to it here. But, kind of talking general about women's basketball, I think that a lot of State fans, in total, we're obviously probably disappointed to an extent for last year's team. I mean, and a lot of it obviously comes down to, I mean, just we were very spoiled for a few years before that. Obviously, winning
absolutely
AC champions. Won our first ever regular season championship. Made it to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, and went to go play UConn in the last year of it all, and then. Looking at last year's team, you had a fairly what you felt was a fairly solid, bottom
foundation,
with foundation with Jada Boyd, Jakia Brown Turner, Diamond Johnson. So you felt really good, but it just seemed like the whole year was just very off, and ending with a 20-12 overall record, 9-9 in the ACC, getting knocked down in the first round. It just seemed like just things were off, but came off with some big wins against beating UNC. But kind of give us your overall synopsis looking back at last year. What do you think about it when you think about the 2022-2023 year?
It was a bunch of new pieces. I mean, when you lose a player like, the big smile, she was the center, and, when she came, she brought all the wins with her. I mean, you know what I mean? She was, Elise Conane was an unbelievable player, an All-American, and when you don't have that centerpiece, and not only athletically and what she brought to the table, as far as her skill set, but just what she brought in the locker room as well. Her, KJ, Kai Crutchfield and Raina Perez.
Yeah.
Those were veterans, man. Those
legends.
Those are legends, man. They brought a lot to the table, and with Coach, they knew exactly what he wanted, and they established themselves as winners. And they can shoot the three, they can get the ball inside, and Lisa Conane was just a very dominant inside player, and that the Wolfpack didn't have last year. So, they had a lot of talent, with Mimi Collins, and they had Jada Boyd. She was hurt a lot of the years. And then Diamond Johnson got hurt for a lot of the season. She was injured, didn't play in a lot of games. And then I remember there was a game we only had 7 players. So, at Virginia Tech. So, it was just a, injury-plagued. They had the talent, but sometimes you just can't put a team together. That team with Lisa Conane, again, Kai Crutchfield, I call it Clutchfield, and, Raina Perez, she came and fit right in for the 2 years she was here, and KJ, who I call the glue, she built herself into a great player, and, that team was just, they knew what to do, they knew how to win. They moved the ball. They got the ball inside. It was inside out. Last year it was outside and it barely got in. You know what I mean? So it was they made it to the tournament, and like you said, you were spoiled because with the 3 ACC championships, I was spoiled. I came in, started doing broadcasts, and before Lisa got here, and there was nobody in the gym, and now, people weren't talking about NC State women's basketball. It became a national, program, and now people are very interested. And they play the top teams. We got Connecticut coming in. One of the, ABC game. That game is sold out. I mean, Reynolds Coliseum is sold out for women's basketball. I mean, people are excited about it. So,
sure.
But last year was kind of disappointing, losing to Princeton. I was out there in Utah with the team and, doing the game. And I thought we, at least get a game or two in the tournament. And it just, without Diamond Johnson and, being out there, we beat a good Iowa team who made it to the final game. Yep. We beat them by 13 points in Iowa, when we had everybody, Diamond and Sanaya Rivers was playing out of her mind that game, knocking down 3-point shots. And, we just, we were just off and on. And then we lose to Georgia Tech on the road.
Virginia.
It was just an up and down season.
Yeah, and see, like, what if I told you that the same team that beat Iowa on the road by 13 points beat Notre Dame and beat Louisville, also lost to Georgia Tech, Boston College, and Virginia? It's like, what is that? So very odd here.
Yeah, but they in a lot of those games, Diamond Johnson didn't play.
Right.
Those games that you mentioned that she did not play in those games that we lost. And she was a big part. Her 3-point shooting, and she was becoming more of a leader on the team. And when you don't have that, and that outside threat or somebody that can, run the show for you and get the ball to the right people and knock down a shot and find her own shot, and it's hard to win in those in those type of games. Those games where you feel like you're supposed to win.
Right. Yeah.
For me, you had a squad full of talent. Just didn't feel like no one really stepped up and was a true leader. Some of that cohesiveness that you had with Cunane and Perez and Kai and KJ, players that were together 3 or 4 years. It felt like you tried to smash a bunch of stuff together and it just didn't work, right? So with that being said, you're going to have to replace your top 4 scorers. They left either, graduation, transfer, whatever it is. Your leading scorer is Sanaya Rivers, who's just scoring 8 points a game from last year. And you bring in, 6 freshmen, 4 really impactful ones. Do you call this a rebuild or reset? Like, where are you at with that?
It's going to be different.
Right.
It's going to be different when you got 6 freshmen and you got 2 players. We got a player from Katy who's from, Sacramento State, who's one of the best 3-point shooters in the country.
Penuetta. I practiced.
Penuetta. Yeah. Katy Penuetta. Yeah. She, she was knocking down 3-point shots over at Sacramento State, and then you got Cox. We got the transfer,
You got Lizzie Williamson, who was the WAC player of the year on defense.
Yeah, all defense. She can rebound the basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, when you bring that many players into a program, and the majority of them are freshmen, the players who are there, like James, I call her Big Game James, Sanaya James.
757, yep.
Yeah. She came into her own last year and stepped in and played well, and against North Carolina and Virginia Tech, she had to play out of position. She had to play point guard, and sometimes, but she's an off guard who can shoot the ball, attack the basket. Very, Zaya James, I call her Big Game James because she shows up big in the big game. So, and then you have Mimi Collins, who's on a lot of watch lists, coming back this year, and she's going to get a lot of minutes. So it's going to be a strange year. And one of my favorite players is, I shouldn't say favorite player, but Maddie Hayes. She's she was McDonald's All-American. She started 25 games last year, and due to injuries, and coach had to switch the team up, and she had to come off the bench the last couple of games, but She plays hard. She brings it every game. She knows, those players from last year are going to have to, you know, work with the young players and bring them in. And they have talent. You got Zoe. I've been to practices. She can play. She's as good as advertised. She's going to play a lot. And, get Sanaya off the ball. Sanaya is going to have to play like she played in high school. That's what she told me. She's going to have to bring her high school game. When she averaged 32 points a game in high school and was the Gatorade Player of the Year. And last year she came in, she said she didn't know how she would fit in with Diamond. And, she had to play some points. I don't think anybody can guard her, really. Off the dribble, going to the basket. She's just so athletic and she plays great defense. And she'll score more this year, than she did in the previous 2 years. She's watched her in practice. She's more confident. She's knocking down the shot, knocking down the 3-point shot. They're going to need that from her. They're going to need a lot more scoring and leadership from her.
Yeah, that's one thing you're noticing. I've watched all the ACC media days the last couple of days for them, and you can just kind of tell that she seems more confident in her role. Obviously, last year coming in from South Carolina, she was just trying to figure out where she belonged, kind of like how you were saying. And now Wes is turning the keys over to both her and Madison to be the vocal leaders on this team, and I think that's a good thing. I think let's establish those people and like those. I hate to use the word alphas, but like those are your alphas, right? And those are the people that you're going to be able to turn to when the game is tight in the fourth quarter. You need a bucket, you need a defensive stand. Those are your two ladies that are going to be there for you. You kind of mentioned Isaiah James, and I think she's someone. I'm going to go out and do a hot take, a bold take. She's going to average double. She's going to average double points this year. I have no doubt about it. I think she's going to. Go ahead.
Yeah, she brings it, and she wants to be great.
Right.
She feels like she's been underestimated. She has that chip on her shoulder. She still has something to prove, to the fans, to herself, to her, people at home that's watching, that she should have been out there playing. Right. If you look at the team, when I got here, there was hardly any McDonald's All-Americans here. Mm-hmm. But you look at the schedule. You got Sanaya. You got
4 now.
Yeah. Maddie Hayes was McDonald's All-American.
Yeah, Zoe
Rivers.
Rivers.
And River Baldwin.
Mm-hmm.
She was a McDonald's All-American. So and Zoe. She's top 9. Player in the country. So when you look at, they have talent. They just have to. Bring it all together. And like Coach said, you said you was watching some of those ACC shows, and he brought up the McDonald's French fries.
Yeah, that was funny.
You know what I mean? He brought up the McDonald's French fries. They taste the same wherever you go. He say he likes them hot. He wants his team hot and salty.
Salty.
You know what I mean?
I like it.
So Coach, when you play against it, he wants people when they play against it to know they played against NC State. Like he wants them to bring some consistency and some toughness when teams play and they win or lose, they know they were in a battle. Yeah, And I like what he said when he said that.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Zoe Brooks. being the number 9 overall recruit in the whole country, is just absolutely been a social media even there's feel like it was like once every couple of weeks I'd see a new highlight clip of Zoe Brooks, what she did in a champion, playoff game or whatever it was. And
And
I
don't
mean,
forget the NBA All-Star Weekend. She was part of that. Like I think it was
that's
last
right.
year, or the year before last. So
That's right.
yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So I mean, like I think that especially with his, I think that one of the issues we kind of ran into last year, I think, is that when Diamond Johnson went down, is that it really asked Isaiah James to step up, like immediately, like all of a sudden, and it kind of took her a little bit to kind of get rolling, and then UNC we saw her break out. I think with Zoe Brooks, like I think with Isaiah James, you need Zoe to kind of be that the yin and yang kind of deal where you need them both to be productive together. I don't think you can really
Yeah,
go
and
into the season relying on one.
James, she had to come in and play point guard, and she
Right, that's
hadn't
not her
played
natural
point guard
position.
since she was in high school.
True.
So I mean,
Great thought.
she played against Virginia Tech at Virginia Tech, played the point, had 20 points in that game. I mean, it's a hard thing to do to come in and replace a player like Diamond Johnson. The way she played, she could knock down the shot. She ran the show. I know you said it didn't seem like she had a lot of leadership, but when she was out there, she led the team to some victories. That game against Louisville and North Carolina, and the year before that when she came off the bench against Louisville and just scorched them and just brought the team back. They were down 15 points, and then she comes off the bench, bang, 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 knocks down shots, and the confidence, off the bench, she was just unbelievable. So and you're not going to have that type of player this year. But Zoe, she's she could score on all three levels. She's quick, she's tough, she's working on her game, like Isaiah said, and on the shows last night. She had to give her a welcome to the big time block shot to let her know. You know what I mean? Better for her to do it in practice than somebody else from another team to do it. So they and then they have KJ on the staff.
I was
She's
about to bring that up.
the general manager. She can bring her experience in, and with young players who are not playing well or who coming in. She developed herself over the years. She's a young. She can talk to that. Being a young player and being patient and all that kind of thing. I think that was a great hire by Coach to bring KJ in. With her experience and what she brought to the table as a player, she can impart some of that knowledge to some of the young players when they're not playing well or they're struggling or they think that they don't belong or just keep working. Just keep working. It all fall into place. But Zoe, she's gonna help Isaiah when she comes because Isaiah is a two guard. She's a two guard. She can go off the dribble. She can knock down shots. She can crash the boards, and so she's not a traditional point guard.
You can kind of say the same for Sanaya Rivers too. I feel like she's more of an off the ball kind of person. Now
She can
create her
play
own
the
shot.
point.
She can.
She can play the point. She has size, quickness, and she can go to the hole. She's worked on her 3-point shot. She started hitting it a little late last year. She's more confident this year, but I don't think anybody can stop her going to the basket. I mean, she's just too quick, too athletic. She's got to let it all out this year. She's got to show him she was, and with all that, she was 6th player of the year last year.
For sure.
In the conference. So I mean, she has that accolade and just averaging 8 points a game. You know what I mean? And she started a lot of games. She came off the bench, but she started a lot of games. But I think that she's going to have a breakout year.
Yeah,
she has to have a breakout year for NC State to be successful. We're not ranked, this year coming into, but you come into Reynolds Coliseum, and Coach is going to put it all together, and in the way he does every year, he's going to get the right combinations. If you're not playing hard, you're not going to play for him. That's just it.
I think, you kind of mentioned just now that, this is the first time in a while that NC State won't be ranked going into a season. And I think that kind of changes the mindset, right? That now we're no longer the hunted, we're the hunters. And, it kind of gives you that edge, that chippiness, that we're not being respected. We're not getting a lifetime achievement. Just giving a 25 ranking. Just kind of talk to.
Yeah, and what you said about last year, a lot of them didn't understand that they were being hunted from what they did the past 3 years and winning those championships. Like, teams were getting up for, a team like Georgia Tech gets up for you. Mm-hmm. Virginia gets up for you. Those teams like, that you should, blow out or whatever. Those teams, they're coming after you. You ran them out last 3 years. Nobody was getting that. NC State was the team to beat. So they beat teams on the road and at home. I remember being at at the Duke game, and they were just raining threes on Duke, and there was nothing they could do about it. We had more fans at the Duke game at Duke than the Duke. Our fans, you could hear them more at the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just, they were like rock stars. They were like the Beatles going and just beating everybody. And I thought they were definitely a Final Four team that year, but they had that game up at Connecticut. It was like a home game. It was a home game for Connecticut, and we got caught up in that situation. But that team was that team was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was special.
So just kind of real quick, you kind of mentioned how we had more fans at Duke, and then I like this. I don't know what her name was. She was interviewing a couple of our a coach, and then a couple of our players. She was from the Daily Tar Heel. Uh-huh. She was, I don't know what her spin was, but she was talking about how Carolina was, getting so much better in their attendance. And I like Coach West is like, yeah, because we brought all of our fans over from Raleigh.
That's Coach West right there.
Yeah, he shut it down real quick, and she didn't she was like, well, I don't know how to come back at this, but
there's no comeback from that. That's
so just kind of just talk to. Yeah, so I mean, we've been talking about a lot about the players, and you have a lot of access to the team, but just kind of just talk about Coach a little bit. He's been coaching for 35 years, and he's just an awesome dude. But just kind of talk to me, like, I don't know if you've talked to him. Like, this is like the first time he's had this many freshmen on a team. This is new uncharted territory for him. So kind of like, do you have anything that you kind of know, like, what's in his mindset?
He knows how to develop players. Mm-hmm. I mean, he developed a lot of players here. I mean, that team when Elisa Konane, that freshman, he developed that team. Mm-hmm. That was really before the transfer portal really started getting into play. He had some good teams even before Elisa, got here. So he's a great coach. He's been in the game for, like you said, 35 years. He has over 800 wins. He hasn't seen a team in his career that he could. I don't think he felt like he couldn't coach. So he has a lot of talent. He's going to put it all together. He has a great coaching staff surrounding him. Nikki West and and the rest of the coaching staff that he has around him. They're going to make it happen. This team, they're gonna come out hungry. Yeah, they're young, but they're gonna make mistakes, and they're gonna get better. Coach is great at accentuating the positives and giving you time enough. Giving you the time to make the mistake and come sit you down and talk to you, and so it doesn't happen over and over again. You know what I mean? So. From what I've seen from him for the last 5-6 years I've been doing broadcasts, I mean, he knows what to do. He's had those teams. He's developed players. He's seen it all. So I had very confidence that this team will play well this year. Will they be ACC champions? I don't know. Will they play hard?
Yeah.
Yes. Will they go out there and play with heart? Yes. Will they make mistakes? Yes. But as the season progresses, they'll get better and they'll get better.
And I think it's interesting too now with Westmore having 2 former players on his staff, which I think is a great look for sure.
Absolutely.
But kind of to kind of wrap this up, again, we'll do more kind of basketball conversations as we get closer to the season. But kind of answer me this. So kind of fill in the blank here. NC State women's basketball will get back to competing for ACC championship. Competing for a Sweet 16, aka back to where they should be if they do what? Like, well, what is that thing that we will get back to this if we're able to do this?
If we're able to share the basketball, move the ball side to side, get all players involved, play with heart, and rebounding. Coach is big on rebound. You have to rebound the ball, and you have to play with heart. You got to play. You're going to be playing in front of how many women's teams play in sold-out arenas? I mean, not too many. I've been a lot of arenas around the ACC, and none of them look like NC State on a big game day for women's basketball.
No.
I mean, Reynolds Coliseum is rocking. So you're going to have the energy of the crowd. You're going to have, coach hates to lose. So my thought process is they have to play together. Sanaya Rivers has to, play lights out the majority of the time and share the basketball and, play inside out. So the new players that are inside, ball players, if you ain't got to kick it back out, and you have to knock down the jumper. So for NC State to be, those championship years, that's the way he played. He played inside, outside. Basketball.
That's right.
You gotta have a dominant player inside that can score the basketball, bring the attention inside, and if they ain't got to kick it out, and you have to knock down the shot. You got to knock down the outside shot. That's what they're going to have to do to get to that level again.
That's the big one for me, Ernie. This is a team that only shot 31% from three last year. That percentage has to get up. It just has to. Especially the way the women's game and in that case the men's game as well.
And see, that's what happened when you don't have a player like Elisa Konane down low to draw that attention. Those outside shots become a lot easier.
For sure.
Especially
when they're collapsing, right? They're collapsing down.
They collapsed down, and our shooters were just wide open, and they could just they knocked the shots down, and that's why our percentage was kind of low because we didn't have that type of player down in the middle to attract attention like that, and those jump shots became a lot harder.
Right. I guess my last question for you: what are your predictions for this team? Is this a tournament team? Is this probably a semifinal ACC team? Like, what are your thoughts with that?
Well, I mean, the season hasn't started yet.
For sure.
No minutes have been played yet. Ask me 10 games in.
All right, I'm gonna find you at Reynolds. I'm gonna ask you.
Ask me 5 to 10 games into the season, and I'll have a better answer for you. But me being an NC State guy and knowing what I've seen and how Coach Moore develops players, I'll definitely say this is going to be a tournament team.
Yeah. And I guess I'm gonna guess why you're not gonna give a prediction right now. It's because there are so many new parts, right? You got all these incoming freshmen, you got all these incoming transfers. You just don't know how it's gonna mesh.
Yeah, especially early on. We're going to go on a trip to the Virgin Islands, play some good teams. We're
going to find out game 2, though.
Virgin Islands, we got UConn.
Yeah, we're going to find out game 2. Is it game 3?
Yeah, game 2 or 3.
I think it's game 2 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to find out real early.
Yep.
What this team is all about.
For sure.
You coming to play or are you playing around?
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's we play Catawba in an exhibition on November 2nd, and then we play Charlotte and then UConn. Yep. So game 2 or 3, depending on how you look at it. So anyway, y'all. So that concludes here at least our discussion here talking about women's basketball. Make sure if y'all haven't already gone, if you're not at the game, make sure to go and check in on Wolfpack.
I'm just gonna say Lacey Steele. Don't sleep on her.
Friend of the program.
I've been to practice. She can knock the shot. She can shoot the ball.
I was going to ask you the freshman not named Zoe that you were expecting big things from, so you got me.
Yeah,
Lacey
there
Steele,
she
let's
is.
go.
Yeah. Lacey Steele can shoot that ball.
I love that plug. Yeah, thank you, Ernie. You're the man, dude. Yeah, because huge fan of Lacey for sure. And again, another friend of the program as well, just like Greg said. But yeah, y'all make sure again to go and make sure to listen in Wolfpack Radio, man, and listen to Ernie. And he does an amazing job. And
thank you.
Excited for the season to get rolling here in only a few days. So we'll finally see some Wolfpack action, man.
I'm excited. I need a warm up game. I mean, they don't let us do the Catawba game. That's an exhibition game. We go right to Charlotte to UConn. You know what I mean?
you gotta get mid-season form game too.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
You gotta be ready,
right.
man. So Andrew and I, man, we love it, and it kind of happened that way last year. We played UConn early, and they kind of blew us out up there, and unbelievable. That place is a tough place to play.
It's tough. I was there.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Alrighty, y'all. So make sure again tune in for part 2 where we continue on this conversation, but now switching over to the men's side. We'll see y'all for part 2, and go Pack, y'all.